Welcome to the Cowles Ventures Podcast.
Well, cool. I mean, we'll just kind of get started. I mean, first of all, thank you for taking some time to come and be on the podcast and talk about what you're doing and who you are and all that. So yeah, if you can just start from maybe not the beginning, but I mean like who you are, I mean how you got into the space that you're in, all that jazz, and we can kind of just go from there.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm Lauren, and I got started, really 10 years ago now when I was still in high school. I loved watching YouTube videos, and I was like, okay, if all these people can do it, why can't I? So I started a little YouTube page and documented the last semester of my senior year. So I was like, I have a little bit of a sentimental girly. So I was like, this is going to be the last time I'm with all of these people before I go off to college and do all these different things. And so that kind of got my spark into social media, and I was like, wait, this is actually really fun. So I was kind of known as a vlogger girl. When I came to Spokane to go to Gonzaga, I was known also as a vlogger girl, and I'd go out to all the different parties and have the camera out, and from there it just kind of started to snowball. And so I had studied abroad, documented that experience, and then when I came back, took a little break, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of panicking. I need to find an internship and figure out what I'm going to do with my life once I graduate. So I got a content marketing internship in my hometown of Olympia, and I didn't even really realize that was an option or a thing. And so my mentor turned now best friend was managing a bunch of small business accounts, and I got to learn how to do Excel spreadsheets for the background and how to plan their calendars, take the pictures. Video wasn't even really a thing back then yet, and so it was crazy to kind of watch that evolution. And then at that same time, I was out with one of my friends, and I was like, I love watching all these Instagram people. I've done the YouTube thing, kind of over it. What if I start an Instagram page? She's like, Lauren, you should do it. And so I started my Instagram page pretty much the same week I started the internship. And so I was able to kind of learn and grow from there. And I took my influencer page and kind of used that as a testing ground for social media management. And I was like, I guess I'm kind of a brand and I'll run myself. And so that's kind of how everything started. And then I've just done freelance social media management on kind of if you know basis. I worked at Chick-fil-A as their marketing manager, action coach, done lots of different side quests over the years. And then at the start of 2026, I was like, I've got all these skills, want to learn how to grow and scale a business. Let's try it with social media management, and lo and behold, it works.
That's crazy. From the beginning, how was that socially, starting in high school, being having that persona as oh, that's the girl that makes YouTube videos?
It's kind of weird, but not many people really watched it. There's maybe 10 people that really cared or did anything with this. I was like, whatever. But it was more just for me and a creative outlet and kind of a hobby at that point. Sure. And then videos started to take off a little bit, and I'm like, oh, people are perceiving me.
Yeah, that's cool. How do you view you as a brand versus you as Lauren, like my friend Lauren?
Yeah. Well, it's all kind of so intertwined at this point. I feel like social media Lauren is just an integral part of who I am as a person at this point, because I do like to maintain that vulnerability, authenticity. I do still try to keep a little air of professionalism where it's okay, there's going to be certain parts of me that I don't talk about, I don't share. I'm very big on boundaries and stuff. So I'm okay, these are my no-fly zones. These are stuff I'll never talk about online. These are parts of me that I don't want to give away unless they're friends and stuff. So I think just maintaining those boundaries and also making sure I have time to just chill and not be on my phone and camera and stuff.
Yeah, that's huge. How was the transition from YouTube to Instagram, kind of long form versus now short form? What are your thoughts on those two? Because I feel people kind of are one or the other, and you kind of have a unique perspective on, you've done the long form content versus now you kind of do, I don't know how long your normal Instagram videos are, average or whatever, but it's
they're anywhere from 7 to 90 seconds, so it's shrunk immensely. I personally prefer the short form content. The long form, I would spend hours every Sunday on my computer editing, because I would vlog my whole week, and I pretty much just shared my life. I would tell stories sitting in my car, kind of like I do now on Instagram. So not that much has really changed, but it kind of has. But I love the shorter form because it's a lot less time consuming. It's more quick little clips and whatnot, and it's also not wrecking my laptop like the long form was. My computer hated me after a while, and I was like, okay, I need to use this for other purposes. I cannot be utilizing iMovie. And it just, again, took up my whole weekend. And I was like, I need to have some kind of a life at some point.
It's the editing part. I think well, first of all, people like when you're like, oh, like I'm an influencer, or whatever. People are like, oh, like that's not like a real job. But like, I don't think people realize, like, I mean, like working with businesses or like yourself or whatever. Like, there's so much that goes into it, from like filming the thing, having the idea, editing, which takes like 10 times as long as like actually filming it. I mean, that's like just so much. And so like when people come to you, I mean, now you're like doing your agency and there's been enough like kind of proof of concept at this point. I mean, like, how did you handle that at the early stages, like first couple of years when like stuff is still kind of like in the works, still rolling, like you're still trying to figure it out? I mean, what was that like for you?
I mean, a lot of like going on Pinterest and like, how do I become an influencer? What do I do? I mean, I'm big on like networking, so like your network is your net worth, and I always am making sure to talk to people. I was in like different Facebook groups for creators and in the fashion world, because I kind of started off as like a fashion influencer in college. And I was working at Nordstrom at the time, always loved clothes, so kind of connecting with people in that world. And then over time, just like not being afraid to fail. I mean, the amount of times I got told no back then and even today is crazy. And so it's just, you kind of got to push past that and be like, you know, I've got something to offer. If you like it, great. If you don't, somebody else will.
Carry on. Yeah. What made you decide to open up the more on the business side, like the agency side, versus just like, I'm an influencer and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work with brands and like do all that jazz.
So, I mean, doing influencer marketing for as long as I have, I mean, you're really just with yourself 24/7. It's just you. And that gets kind of tiring after a while. And so I've kind of gotten to a point, plus it's like, it's not the most sustainable business opportunity, honestly, because you'll create the content and then you won't get paid for much later. And then like some brand deals are bigger, small. It's just so variant that I was like, I kind of need like that consistency as I get older and I've got different career and life goals. So I was like, what can I do to be sustainable while still doing the fun influencer stuff? More or less kind of on the side at this point, but I still do different partnerships and everything, but the focus has really moved to the agency, and then the influencer marketing is like the proof of concept, and then could also be an add-on to my clients if they wanted to go that route.
How does that all work? I mean, from people that don't know anything about how like the influencer space works for like brand partnerships and like, you know, like UGC and all that stuff. Like, can you give kind of like a mini master class on like how does that work? Like, are you reaching out to brands? Like, are brands reaching out to you? Like, how does that get started? Like,
kind of both. So I do a lot of like cold outreach. I haven't as much because I've got a million other things going on, but I would reach out to different businesses and be like, hey, I'm Lauren, what's a good email? And I love a good kind of warm lead on reaching out on social media. When I was a smaller business and like smaller influencer, no one really cared, but now that I've got a bigger following, people actually listen, which is kind of wild. And then from there, I just send like a pitch email, and then I've got like a little media kit where I share all my stats, some case studies about people I've worked with in the past, my rates and package options, and then from there we just kind of build the relationship, and if things go well, I usually work with them again, and then if not, on to the next.
Nice knowing you.
And so, and then for a couple chapters in there too, I've had like a manager over the years too, like off and on. And so they would also help kind of do some outbound stuff. They'll help negotiate on my behalf, but I've been keeping everything in-house since December of last year, since I've kind of shifted. I mean, I still have like, I'm a kind of unicorn in Spokane because I have a big national audience. I mean, I've got people as far as India that follow me and have enjoyed my content, but then I'm also growing my local presence. And so with the growth of kind of my local reach and everything's like, I mean, Spokane, it's so personal. Everyone's kind of like small town vibes in a way, where if you know one person, you know everybody here. And so I try to maintain those relationships as well, and it's better if I just handle it myself. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, that kind of nicely segues into like, why are you in Spokane, I guess? Like, I mean, you're from Olympia, so like Washington girly.
Yeah, 100%.
But like, I mean, easy jump up to Seattle, bigger market, a lot more reach there. But like, it's like, what brought you? Well, you went to Gonzaga.
Yeah, so born in Olympia, grew up there, came to GU, and I was a class of 2020. So I always joke, did I really graduate from Gonzaga? Technically, yes, I have my diploma and everything. And I studied communications and marketing, had the time of my life. And then when COVID hit, I was supposed to take like internship at Nordstrom, because again, I'd worked there throughout the summers, and I would spend time in like the Tacoma area too, so I kind of bounced between Olympia and Tacoma. And when everything just kind of shut down, I was like, I don't really know what to do. Moved back in with my parents, did a little stint in Tacoma, absolutely hated that. I was like, that's not for me. And the hard thing about Western Washington is the Seattle freeze is very much a thing. And I mean, even growing up there, like, yes, I know people in Olympia, but the further north you go, I was like, I was lost. Like, I go to Seattle to this day, and I still feel like a little ant with all those giant buildings. I was like, I don't know if this is my vibe.
Yeah.
So I would just miss Spokane in general over those couple of years. And so when the opportunity to move back happened, I was like, yeah, I'm taking that. And for me, I like being a big fish in a small pond. Like it's cool to have kind of the reach and the ability to do all the things that I want to do. Plus, I don't know, this is the first place that's really felt like home to me. And so it's cool to get to know people. I've got friends from college that still live here. And so a lot of it's like the community aspect, but growing a business here versus on the west side, a million times easier. So it's a lot easier to kind of network, one business owner, I can refer you a lot easier. Whereas when I was trying to on the west side, it was like pulling teeth, and also it's just so expensive over there. Like the cost of living just makes it so much better too.
That makes sense. I mean, from like a business standpoint, are you working more with local businesses, or are you trying to kind of expand into like national or international or what have you?
Right now, my heart really does lie in the small business owner and local business, because something that I offer to all of my clients is content creation. So I'll go out, I'll film on their behalf, take photos, actually make everything that's going to go on their socials, so they don't have to worry about a thing. When I would talk to business owners, they're like, I hate social media, I don't want to film, I'm never going to think about it. And I was like, what if I just make everything easy for you? You don't have to worry about anything. And so it'll be a little bit harder to like travel, but I'm open to having clients kind of anywhere. I mean, I have a client down in Denver, so it kind of just depends and varies, but that's going to happen more as my team starts to expand.
For sure.
I'm not the one doing every single thing.
I mean, do you have a team, or is it just you right now?
I have me and my little assistant, Haley. She is a gem, and so I'm going to actually meet with her after this, and I'm excited. She does a lot of the more influencer side of things at the moment, since that's something that I can really easily offboard. I'm like, I've done this work for 7 years now. I don't want to touch it anymore. But I'm also going to start training her to learn more of like the social media management side, kind of see myself as like one of my clients in a weird way. And so make sure I'm running, and I like to be congruent too. Like I treat my business like I do with my clients, and make sure my social media is up to date, staying up with trends. I kind of treat myself more as a guinea pig than my actual clients, because I would rather mess up for myself than for them. So that's been kind of fun too. But right now, just a team of 2, but I feel like in the next month or 2, it's going to start growing even more.
I love it. That's awesome. When you're meeting with new prospective clients or businesses, like what's kind of like the track you talk with them with on like a 0 to we're going to do it to this point?
Well, I got like a whole website and everything, and so I feel real fancy and whatnot, and I was like, okay, she's a businesswoman. So on the website, they can book an intro call, and it's about a 20-minute chat, and it's really just discovery. So I like to get to know who the business owner is. Something I've loved starting to ask is why? Why do you do what you do? Why are you so passionate about it? Because you got to be really into what you're doing in order to make it a whole business. And then I kind of just learn about their marketing goals, what they're trying to do as they continue to grow. And then from there, if they're like, I like it, we have a whole onboarding process. I've got dozens of questions that I ask, because I really do want to understand their business as best I can. I don't say no to people that are in like the same industry and niche and whatnot, and so I just try to make sure like, okay, what's going to differentiate you from your competition? How can we really tailor this to make it personal to who you are as a business and brand? And then from there, they sign on for a 6-month contract, and then just kind of rock and roll from there. Re-up
from there. Okay. What are some of your favorite businesses to work with?
I love a service-based business and something that's B2C. So getting to work with the community, because I kind of come from like, again, an influencer perspective. So I kind of look at social media management through that lens, where I'm like, okay, here's my business. How can we tell stories? How do we create a cult-like following? How do we get people engaged and interested? Because, it's cool to get like a one-time client, but how do we get them to come back? How do we get them to share it with their friends and refer and recommend? Because, social media is an amazing tool. It's not like the end-all be-all necessarily, but it's an amazing jumping off point to show this is who I am, this is what I can do, shows that you're still relevant. I'm always looking on social media to see if restaurants are open, or if this business, if I'm going to try a service, I want to see what you're already doing, because I'm not going to trust you if you're not sharing anything, or the content looks old and outdated. And I'm like, okay, this is not my cup of tea.
That's too funny. There's this, I wish I could shout them out or what Instagram page they are, but it's this lady, I think it's like down south somewhere, but she has like a breakfast restaurant, and she's like, her name's like Julie, and she like makes videos about her pancakes, and like, it's like the most hilarious videos, but she's just like, I don't know, probably in her like 50s, and she just like, it's so like, that she's just the one, but it's like, I'm gonna do this crazy thing, and it's like, you know her because she makes these crazy videos, and like her restaurant's just like blown up because of it. But it's insane. How do you explain to businesses, maybe probably businesses that are like service-based businesses, they've done it for forever, they're family businesses or whatever, the benefit of having a social media presence versus just like how they've done it the whole time before? I'm sure that's a conversation that happens all the time. Like, why do I even need this? Like, we're doing fine. You're like, no. Like,
I mean, you think back even a couple of years ago, social media, like, I would tell people, social media is the future of marketing. Well, since 2025, I say social media is marketing. If you're not on these platforms promoting yourself in this kind of way, I mean, even if you're not necessarily looking for clients, what if you're looking for an employee? Your potential employee is going to go on there, see, okay, what is their social proof? Are they on social media? For the younger generation and consumer, they're going online to see, oh, is this business open? Is this business, do they look good? Are they someone I can actually trust? What is their personality? Are we going to get along? And so it kind of just gives you that good little foot in the door, because people are going to purchase, I mean, it's basic marketing and psychology. People are going to purchase from people they trust and know and recognize. Right. So when you can actually capitalize that on social media, you're going to do a world of good for yourself and your business compared to people who aren't. Plus, I mean, it's better to be more like high tech a little bit to some extent and say like, hey, I'm here, we're relevant, we're hanging out, this is what we're doing and why. And in Spokane in particular, a lot of businesses aren't on TikTok still, and everyone's been like, TikTok. But there's so many consumers that are hanging out on the platform that I didn't even realize were there until last year. And so for a lot of my clients, I get them on TikTok. They're outperforming like crazy because they're the only one in their industry and niche that is actually hanging out there. You could show off your personality better, and the sales just start to organically come from that. Yeah,
makes sense. When you're working with businesses like that, do you usually make the approach of, we're going to highlight the business, or do you try to work with the business owner or the manager or whoever to like make them the brand?
It's kind of a combination of both. So I like to do a bit of talking to the business owner, understanding the why, and again, especially if it's like a service-led business, so I've got a lot of like wedding planners and coordinators. I'll talk with the actual business owner themselves, and I'll like kind of sit and do like interview style, sort of like this. I give them their little microphone, and I'll ask them a bunch of different questions so people can again understand their personality, why they do what they do. Because if you're like an integral part of the business and you're really going to be there interacting with the customers and really being the face of the company, you're going to want to know, okay, who am I going to be working with? Other businesses, however, it's not as important, so it's more just showing off like, hey, this is the experience, this is the feeling you're going to get when you actually come here, and show kind of the social proof and credibility that way. But I still like to get the team involved. I still like to get everyone interacting as best I can, because humans want to work with humans and be with other humans. Like, there's been such an isolation crisis over the last several years, and social media is a great way to kind of like capture people while they're in that isolation. But my goal at this point is, how do we get them offline, get them back into community, back with people. I love like different events if I can with my clients, or just reminding them like, hey, there's other things happening in your area, branch out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and you kind of just said it. I mean, how does your perspective on, I mean, your business is social media and like doing all that, but at the same time, there's this whole movement kind of going on of like, get off your phones, get off of social media, like do things with like your groups of friends or like community or whatever. Absolutely. Like, how do you kind of balance those two? I kind of see social media as kind of the way to like entice people. So it's like, okay, you're going to spend time on your phone. We're all going to scroll. It's just kind of part of our routine, but it's always fun. Like, sometimes I'll get like my friends sending me videos that I made of my clients, and like, we should go to this. And I was like, I made that video. And so I think it's so cool to see like, okay, we're going to kind of spend some time online, see what's going on. Because I mean, you think back to social media a decade ago, we were only posting like what our friends were doing and what we were up to in real life, and social media was kind of like the way to kind of scrapbook and save all of that information. Well, you look at social media today, you're not really so much interacting with your friends, but you're seeing what are creators doing, what are businesses up to, how can my friends and I actually go out and see this thing and try it out for ourselves versus capturing it after. So I like to really pinpoint, okay, you're gonna see this looks fun, you should come. Or we post about it afterward, they get the FOMO, and then they're gonna wanna come back again. So really just think about, okay, how can we share what's going on? And then when I'm actually at the events or the business, whatever it may be, I really try to capture, let's get the people talking, let's get them dancing, having fun, and show people like, no, there is community, there are things happening. So it always drives me nuts when people are like, there's nothing new in Spokane. I'm like, there's so much going on here. You just don't get out and like actually try to experience it or anything. Yeah. When you're kind of doing things more on the editing side, or even on the, I guess, just scrolling any platform really, like how is AI affecting what you're doing or how people are perceiving social media? Like, how has that kind of changed the way that you're doing things?
It is bananas. So I got a DM a few weeks ago from one of my followers, and she's like, Lauren, I was Googling something about Spokane, and in the little AI Google bot, she took a screenshot. My video was right next to it. I didn't realize social media posts until that point were heading to Google in such a pronounced way, because it would take people, to websites, and there wasn't really that social proof. But now I look up clients on Google, their videos are popping up, and I'm seeing like, oh, you're actually doing something, and you're here. This is crazy. So I see AI as like a tool. I don't think it's something that should be relied on personally. Like, we still need that human aspect to things. And again, because people want to be around people, and so I don't want to rely heavily on it. I see it as more of a tool. So I'll use it sometimes for like ideation, creation, but for copywriting, I am handwriting stuff myself still. I'm making it sound human. It sounds like the business, the brand. A lot of small businesses I talk to, they'll talk about other managers that they have, and they're like, Lauren, they're just doing AI stuff. It sounds like everybody else. And I don't want that at all. I want it to sound authentic. I want it to sound like you. I want it to still have that more curated experience. And sure, it might be a little bit more time consuming on my end, but the overall payoff and what humans are actually craving, it's going to benefit them in the long term.
Yeah, I tried to use, or I didn't even try to use, but there was this like ad for like, oh, like use this for your business. We can create like 20 videos from like a little thing about your business. So I tried it for ours, and just the stuff that it was putting out there, it was just like so bad. I was like, this is awful. Like,
it kills me. Like, every once in a blue moon, if there's a ton of content and I need to shut it or like cut it down a bit, I'll use like AI on CapCut. But even then, I still go back in and I make sure everything's like the way that I want it. But yeah, it should not be relied on. Should not use it all the time. It should just be like, okay, we use her here and there, but it's going to be, and it's good to like kind of compare other people in your industry too. It'll help me come up with like hashtags and stuff, but we still want to have that human aspect. That's why I make sure I edit all my clients' work, and we have those videos of the business owner of the business where people can see like, oh, they're a real person and this has actually been done in a human way.
Yeah, and I feel like people are getting so used to identifying it that it's almost becoming like, oh, they use AI. Then like, I don't want to go to, if there's a coffee shop or it's a whatever, like I'm not going to go there because they're just not putting any effort into it.
Oh. Yeah. And like a little bit of effort, I think, goes a long way, especially as we like hit the peak of where AI is going. It's going to come back down. Like everything, it's a cycle. So people are going to want that human contact again, human content. And so if we can kind of get ahead on the curve, that's going to be even better.
Yeah. As an entrepreneur, starting your own business and being the business boss that you are, what do you think Spokane can do better in terms of supporting local business owners and entrepreneurs and the startup space?
Ooh. I think people need to just kind of spend more time with each other and remember that it's still people at the end of the day. So it breaks my heart to see so many businesses closing these days, and it's like, oh my gosh, all these dreams are like falling apart for people. And so that's why I love doing what I do, because I get to help small business owners achieve their dreams. I was talking to one of my clients recently, and they're like, Lauren, we got a new membership for your TikTok video. I was like, yes, and that's exactly why I do what I do. So if you can just go and support a small business, instead of getting a chain restaurant meal, go get a quick little burger at Zips or something, and you're helping benefit other people. If you're on social media and you see a small business on there, like it, share it with a friend, leave a little comment. Even something as small as that, which seems kind of like for the average consumer, oh, I'm just scrolling it, whatever. It does make an impact, and it does mean a lot to the business owner who's, pouring their blood, sweat, tears, money, everything into this company. And so the more we can support each other and thrive as a small business community, the economy will soar, and it's going to just have a good compounding of snowball effect. But if we're just isolating ourselves and not really helping anybody, that's going to be detrimental in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. As we kind of wrap up, I have a couple rapid fire questions for you. Starting with the top, what is a dream brand of yours to work with?
Ooh, I've always wanted to work with Nordstrom as an influencer, since that's where I got my start, and I'm like, okay, this will be really cool when that day comes.
That'd be sweet. Okay, what is the number one most underrated skill that you think in your industry to possess?
Ooh, the ability to take a big idea and shrink it down. I've got a comm degree, and I feel like people are like, oh, comm degree, that's kind of like a hokey liberal arts thing. But it's really beneficial because I can take big ideas and shrink it down, and never underestimate having some of a collegiate background in education, because it'll take you a lot further, and it's something no one can take away.
Super true. I feel like the most identifying, or like, I'm not sure what the word is, but like when we're, vetting businesses or whatever, like the best question that I've found to ask people is like, tell me what your business is in like one sentence.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for people to do because they're so used, like anyone can talk about their business or what they're doing in like, page long format, but to be like, this is what we do in like 5 words or less is like impossible for people to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your most unpopular opinion on social media that people would disagree with?
Ooh. I mean, I always just say, like, social media is meant to be social. And I think sometimes people just use it as, like, okay, actually, don't expect sales right away from social media. I think that's something that, a lot of business owners, like, I want to see this return on investment right away. But good things take time. You got to let it cook a little bit. And so when you're impatient like that, it's not going to be beneficial. But if you trust the process and let it kind of simmer, then all the good stuff's going to start coming.
Like anything, right? I feel like they look at, the 14-year-olds that are making like millions, like unwrapping Christmas presents, and like, well, I want to be like that. And it's like, well,
okay, you've been doing it for a long time. You got to get people to trust you. Like, are you going to really trust a random stranger that you found scrolling? No. You need to let people understand who you are first, and then people will actually buy.
Yeah, definitely. If you were going to go back to 2020, Lauren, what is one piece of advice you would give her?
Don't be afraid of failing and asking for help. I think that's something I didn't do enough. I thought, I know plenty of things, like I'll be fine. But the more that I really dove into my education and learning and connecting with other people, that's when I was really able to scale and become who I am today.
Yeah. And then finally, what are you most excited for next, whether that be personally or professionally or whatever is coming next with your business?
Ooh, I'm so close. So my goal for the year was to have 10 clients, and we're at 9 already.
Oh my gosh,
it's only June, and I'm like,
you need to bump that up.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, we might need to make that like 20 instead by the end of the year. And then just to start hiring out a team, so it's not me doing everything. I still want to have a good quality for all my clients, and I know I won't be able to do that by myself. So
definitely. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed learning all about you and about the space and what you're doing and all that. We'll have to have you back on maybe this time next year. Then you'll be at, 100 clients by then.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think at a time.
But we'll get there. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This was super fun.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.